Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another fantastic episode of The Left Wing. I am TJ Whitehead, powers taken, not given, joined once again by John Cooper Cause of Counterpoint Politics. Long time no see, old friend.
I know it's been 2 weeks now since our last show. It's
Yeah.
wild, we announced. I swear to God, we should just not announce we're going on a break, because I swear to God, every time we go on a break, something either really good or really bad happens, and we miss it. In this case, both. We had
Yes.
Christi Noem get fired the day after we recorded, which I was like, God damn it! How did we miss that one? And then we went to war with Iran, and that's a whole story in and of itself. We could have spent the last 3 episodes just talking about everything with Iran. And I'm glad that we finally got there, I guess, since we've been kind of having to speculate to it. We all knew it was happening. It was just a matter of when, and it happened as soon as we went on break. I should have put a bet on it.
Yeah, they were waiting. Trump was waiting. He didn't want the power of the left wing coming after him. Although, I don't know, actually, because I was going to ask you, John, you got what you wanted. You wanted your war with Iran, right? So here we go. General John Cooper Paz getting the war going. What do you think, man?
So it's interesting. It basically played out exactly how I thought it would, which is why I said I generally am more supportive of military action against Iran than most over on our side of the aisle. But the people who are doing it are not to be trusted. And that first 24 hours, TJ, I was almost hopeful. Because they were saying all the right things. They launched a airstrike, no boots on the ground. We're taking out senior leadership, and we are calling on the people to rise up. And that lasted about, 24 hours. And then they just started bombing everything, bombing population centers, bombing a fucking school. I mean, I don't know what to say, TJ. It's not going to end well. We clearly did not actually enter this with a plan other than let's take out a couple key targets and then hope for the best. And we're now paying for it. This could very well lead to another 2008 like crisis. Like we are so obviously set up for that right now, and that's the big worry in my book at the current moment.
Yeah, this was that was my own fault hopping right into the big topic. I wanted to banter. That was my own fault right there. Little rusty. Been on the show for a week and a half, and that's what happens. No, the strike on Iran, like when it happened. So I remember back in what was it, 2020, January 2020, when Trump drone struck Qasem Soleimani. I was still in the army at the time. And I remember seeing that and thinking, ooh, that could be bad. This could lead to some, and I don't know if I'm comfortable with this. I was kind of scared of what might happen then. And this kind of reminds me of that, except this is actually a lot worse. This is much, much worse than the assassination of Soleimani, because Trump, we've always known that, well, for 50 years now, the United States has had tense relationships with Iran and Iranian leadership. None of this is defending Iranian leadership. No one has to like Saddam Hussein or the Ayatollahs or anything like that to support this. But the United States had a vested interest in changing a regime change in Iran for quite some time, but no one ever actually pulled the trigger on it. And then Trump did. Out of fucking nowhere. Well, out of nowhere is the wrong word, but I mean, I was surprised to see that happen. I was like, whoa, okay, they assassinated the Ayatollah. What's going to happen next? And of course, Trump said, what was that? Iran's going to have a nuclear weapon. The same shtick that they've been going with for years now, although he told us that Iran's nuclear capabilities have been obliterated, all caps obliterated, back in July of last year. He even posted on the whitehouse.gov that any suggestions that Iran's nuclear capabilities haven't been obliterated are fake news nonsense. And this is actually, they were 2 weeks away. And so now we had to bomb them. Not a nuclear site, just the leader. So it's like, now we're going to replace the leader. And of course, the leader's kid takes over. And so we got, put a pickle in my mouth, commented, did Mojaba Khomeini take power or was he given power? Both, I guess. I mean, like, if you want to really technical about it, I guess it kind of fell into his lap when his old man died. But John, you just mentioned there's no plan here. Then why did he do it? What do you think there had to have been some kind of rationale behind Trump going through with this?
Well, I think that it was pretty clear that Trump didn't make this decision. Bibi decided to attack and say, boy, you better come with me. And he just went with him. because Pete Hegseth wants to attack Iran, makes Pete Hegseth feel like a good old Christian nationalist general. And so he's pushing for it. Bibi goes and preemptively attacks, dragging us into a war with Iran. I mean, that seems to me to be the case. I would actually imagine Trump is kind of pissed about this whole situation and was maybe told by certain members of his inner circle that would be just like Venezuela, where we'd take out the guys and we'd be all good and it would be over in a 48-hour period and he could just declare victory and he wouldn't have to worry about it anymore, which is dumb advice. Anyone would know that that is not the case, but Trump doesn't. And the people who want war with Iran inside his inner circle, they just convinced him to go for it. And once they did convince him, well, he can't back out. That would look weak. So he's in it hook, line, and sinker. That's what I imagine Trump is not a fan of this. Like, if I were to just like put on my Trump whisperer hat, I would say war with Iran is not on Trump's bingo card. This is obviously something he was pushed into by others. Would you agree with that?
Well, pushed into by others, as in, like, we know, I think Rubio said this first, that Netanyahu informed us that we are going to attack Iran. We're going to do it. And when that happens, they're going to do retaliatory strikes on you. So you might as well get on the fun while you can. I believe that. However, what was the goal here? Like, just knowing that you're going to be attacked because your ally, first off, obviously you would want to strong arm Israel into not doing it, but Trump doesn't have the balls to do that. But what's in it for the United States? Like, he thinks that they're going to topple the regime. Oh, I mean, you said it worked in Venezuela, I guess. But I mean, like you mentioned, any sane person would realize Iran is not Venezuela. Like, you're comparing apples to refrigerators here. That is insane to think that it will work like Venezuela. But what do you think would happen next? Like, you assassinate an Ayatollah and think everything's going to be fine? Did they think that the people are going to rise up in the streets and then, vote in a white American guy to be the leader or something?
I think they genuinely, because that is something that was echoed by Trump, by Bibi, by the Pentagon, by multiple people in the Trump cabinet. That was in that first 24-hour period. That is the message that was being delivered. They were calling on the people of Iran to rise up, and the people of Iran did not rise up. Now, I'm not an expert on Iranian domestic politics, but that's not what happened. There clearly was not enough juice to actually have the people rise up and revolt. Now we're talking about armed different groups, and that always goes well. So there was no plan, DJ. I don't know why you're asking. Well, what's in it for the United States? That's way too far down the line. Considering they have no idea what they're doing. Do not. If there was some plan, there wasn't. It was just make shit go boom and deal with it later. That was basically the whole plan.
Let me tell you what I find really funny about this. And so when I was in the Army, I worked with missile systems, Patriot missile systems. And by the way, I don't know if you know this, but Patriot is an acronym. I don't know if you knew that, John. Like, a Patriot missile. It stands for, let's see if I can remember. It stands for Phased Array Tracking Radar Interceptive Target. Terrible. Just awful. Just nothing is worse than a forced acronym. And the fact that it's a forced acronym and it's called Patriot, like the lamest name ever, it kind of is insulting to me. But anyway,
they needed to talk with the guys who made the Moab bomb. That's a good
mother of all bombs. There you go. That works. That's a decent one right there. Yeah. So here's what's been funny to me about the Iran war. A statement no one has made so far. I'm going to talk about the comedy involved here, in that our missile intercepting system, like our whole air defense system that we have set up, is mainly Patriot missiles. Patriot missile batteries, what we have. And Patriot missiles, there's two different types. There are PAC-2s and PAC-3s that the Army uses. I don't know what PAC stands for. I probably should. But PAC-2s are the missiles that fly up, and they're basically flying shotguns. They turn around and they open a canister and they fire projectiles onto enemy aircraft. And then there's PAC-3 missiles. PAC-3s are like flying just giant bullets, basically. They're these lead containers, and they either destroy or alter the trajectory of enemy missile fire. So PAC-2 and PAC-3 missiles cost between, I'm going to say, $2 and $5 million. That's how much these missiles cost. Now, Iran has been overwhelming our targets in Bahrain, Israel, all over the Middle East. And what they're doing is they're sending their old cheap ass Scud missiles, which are kind of a problem for Patriots anyway, but they send their Scud missiles and they send their drones, which cost like $20,000 to make a drone. And having worked with Patriot missiles, I know this. Whenever a Patriot missile battery has 8 launchers with 4 missiles each before it reloads. And when it has a target, you have it's called shoot, look, shoot. But basically, you shoot one missile at the target, and then you shoot another one. Patriot doctors to fire 2 missiles to make sure you get the target. So we're spending between $5 and $8 million per attack on a $20,000 drone and drying up our Patriot missiles. In fact, we're using so many missiles that we are airlifting Patriot missile equipment or shipping, equipment from Korea to the Middle East to help defend against these launches. Iran's going to have plenty of missiles. There are plenty of missiles and plenty of drones, and they're doing it on the cheap. It's kind of easy to figure out that's what have happened, but you walked right into it. It's their own fault.
Yeah, 100%. It is very funny. Kobe brings up, I can't believe we're living through the beginning of the Phantom Menace. We got, closed significant trade routes by a robot army that is overwhelming the republic that is being led by an evil dictator wannabe. Like, it really can't get more on the nose. When we did that ranking of the Star Wars films, CJ, I thought we were maybe being a little too far away from our politics lane. But you know what? Life imitates art, doesn't it? It's crazy why anyone thought that this would work. Like, I genuinely, there's no end goal here. We're just wasting millions and millions and millions of dollars. We are really I cannot emphasize enough how much the global economy is hanging on by a goddamn thread right now. And I don't think anyone actually believes that A, this war is going to be over soon, or B, if this war isn't soon, that it's going to last, because oil prices are just going to keep going up. Trade is just going to keep getting harder and therefore more expensive. And that is what causes economic crashes, people. When you have an already, let's say, bubbly economy, I don't know what country that might be referring to, but probably ours. And you have increasing levels of personal debt combined with rising oil prices, which basically increase the price of everything because everything requires oil, whether or not you are buying a shirt or a shoe or food or whatever. It required oil to get from wherever it came from to your doorstep. And that is a very bad recipe for disaster. And we're just walking right into it. It's almost as if we were intentionally trying to crash the world economy, DJ. Like, if you were to come up with ways to do so, this would be right at the top of the list. It would be so easy and obvious that, like, Hollywood writers would avoid putting it in a movie because they wouldn't want to be too predictable.
Well, John, all of that is true, and it is kind of sad and depressing and a dangerous time. But you will be happy to know the Trump administration is taking this very seriously. This is a post that was sent out by the WhiteHouse.gov Twitter page, and if you could pull that up, we can. So what happens here? I don't know if you.
Comes the heat from the USA. Boom! Pins down. What a strike! That's right. Who do you think you are? I am.
That ending there is so perfect. I like that. So yeah, John, it's a dangerous time, but they're memeing their way through it, man. They're memeing their way through it. And we joke all the time that politicians now, especially the Trump administration, almost the entire Trump administration, when you think about it, we haven't got to Christi Noem or anything yet, but they don't act as statesmen anymore. They just act as content creators, and everything is content. Everything's a joke. Everything is goofy. And yeah, why not? Oh, I can't hear you, John. You're muted.
Thought that's not the first. Like, they've posted multiple videos exactly like that. I've seen ones where they post like clips of like college football big hits that are followed by drone strikes. I saw one with like a bunch of like Top Gun, John Wick clips interspersed with actual footage of them fighting. It is just a recipe for a lawsuit. I'm so surprised that no one has just sued their asses off for this. Like, I don't know how football players can't use their own highlights on their social media posts without getting permission from the NFL, but like the White House can just use NFL footage in war propaganda, and the NFL doesn't sue their asses off. Honestly, I don't know why that guy. I forget his name, but who do you think?
Who do you think you are? I am.
Yeah, that's his name. I don't know why he doesn't sue. I don't know why everyone doesn't sue them for this, because it is disgusting. It is absolutely disgusting to be making memes about an actual fucking war that actual fucking people are dying in, Americans and Iranians alike, and Israel. Like everyone, people are dying, and we're just the president of the United States is joking about it. I mean, I know that like shit doesn't matter anymore, TJ, but like it sucks. It just sucks. Like this is one of those things where I have no more words to describe what is going on other than this is disgusting and it sucks. And if you agree with this, you think this is cool or funny, what the fuck is wrong with you?
What do you think? I am interested to see where this goes with Trump supporters, because like we predicted, Trump supporters are still overwhelmingly in favor of the. Now, what you'll see now, you might get a different story looking online, because social media influencers on the right, or people who just make videos on the right, like you're the loudmouth Republicans, they whine and they complain, like Nick Fuentes, Alex Jones, Tucker Carlson. Yeah, those people are saying this is bad, this is horrible and everything. Megyn Kelly, I think. But that is not the Republican electorate proper. That's not, if you look at the polls, it's still overwhelming support. I saw one poll that said 55%. That's the lowest one I saw. The rest of them were all like 85%, 80, 85 in support of this. And it's just, this is what's been the hard about making social media political content for the last, 5 months or so, that you're not dealing with another side that has any principles. You're not dealing with people who actually have any core beliefs other than, if Trump does it, I'm for it. So even though they preached to you for years about how Donald Trump is going to be the anti-war president, he's going to be against war, they are all in favor of this one. And do you think that's going to change? It might. I don't have my hopes up, actually. I don't think that I think it'll be just like the Republicans backed the Iraq War and the War on Terror from 2001 to 2015. I think it's going to be the exact same thing. Even though they know it's fucked up, it's going to take a splash of water to the face moment, like Trump calling them out on it, for them to actually back down. I don't think they will anytime soon.
So I do wonder, TJ, because they're doing this, right? Just because they're doing it doesn't mean it's playing well.
No, it's not. Yeah.
Obviously for us, we find this disgusting. And obviously there's a group of people who never see this sort of stuff. But like, there are a lot of people who do see this stuff who might otherwise have been supportive of a war, like the people who continue to support the invasion of Iraq. We never did this, though. We never called attention to just how bad and evil we were while we were invading Iraq. The party line was always, we are out there fighting terrorism, stopping WMDs. There is no clear party line here. Donald Trump changes his mind. It's sometimes in the middle of a single speech about how long this will even last, or why we're doing this, or there's no consistent thing that they can consistently propagandize the American public about. And shit like this, I just have to believe, turns a lot of people off. Like, this is the least popular war at the start of a war ever. Like, we've never had something with this little support when it started as we have with this. And also, it's not a war, but also it is a war. That can we talk about that for a second, actually?
Yes, the excursion.
Because
yeah.
It's absurd. It's absolutely absurd that Mike Johnson is going around still he's still like, oh, well, it's a military conflict, and the president has the authority to do that. It's not a war. We're not calling it a war. And then Donald Trump is just literally on a fucking stage being like, war with Iran, let's go. He can't stop calling it a war, TJ. Like, it's the one thing, the only thing he's not able to do. He could do whatever he wants as long as he avoids using the word war, and he can't even do that. And yet, he's doing it. And we don't give a shit, and nothing matters. Like, what the fuck?
That is funny that it's a war, it's not a war. There's a great clip of what's the guy's name? Mark Wayne Mullen. I think he's the guy who's taking Christi Noem's place. And he's doing an interview on some news channel, and he refers to it as a war. And then he goes on the interview. But by the way, this is not a war. She said, "You just called it a war 45 seconds ago. Well, do you not know if this is a war or not?" It's true. I saw this comment by Colby here. I wanted to get to it before we move on. It was great. I heard it was called the Strait of Moose until your mother sailed through it. And Colby is referring to the Strait of Hormuz, which is pretty good, Colby. That's some good shit. I just saw my mom this last weekend. She's going to be hurt that you did something like that, but that is a funny joke, so I'll give it a pass this time. No, but yeah, Trump not being able to decide if it's a war or not, and not articulating a clear goal in this. Another thing that's really fun is listening to them say that for years now, they've said, we've learned our lessons from regime change wars. We're not going to do that anymore. That's not going to be our thing. And now Trump openly and clearly stated that, yes, this is a regime change operation right here. And to say, well, this isn't a regime change. This is a replacement of the regime, something like that. I almost feel bad for them. I do not, but I almost feel bad for them, like working for Donald Trump and having to try to, decode ring, decipher what he says and try to explain it to people because it doesn't make any sense.
It never does. It never has. I genuinely don't know how anyone with a pulse is supportive of this at all. Like, again, there's no benefit to us. There's zero benefit to us for strike. We're wasting millions and millions of dollars terrorizing our economy. And like, at least like I did see a poll, I forget who did it, but it was like the plurality of Americans, like the biggest person or thing that is blamed for the rising gas prices is one Donald Trump. So like, at least that message is getting through. But Jesus, I don't think this ends until Democrats get a veto-proof majority in both chambers of Congress to stop this and actually pass a war powers resolution to. I think it goes on until then. I think this war will last until the midterms are over and Congress is changed, because there's nothing that's going to. We're not going to win. We can't win. There is no victory. Yeah. Like there's no. He said, and even like the questioning about the because Trump was like total surrender. And like Carolyn Levitt was asked, what does that mean? And she's like, oh, well, it means when Trump is satisfied that they have totally surrendered, they have totally surrendered. It's like, okay, well, it's vibes. This is a vibes war.
Yeah, I think she said that when it's clear that their capabilities have been depleted and they can't fight back, that's the same as a total surrender. No, it's not. That's not the same.
It's also not the case. Yeah, that happened. That Japan's military capabilities they couldn't fight back, and we didn't call that total surrender. Nope. We dropped 2 nukes on them to get them.
So this. You mentioned this is perhaps the least popular war at its onset in American history, certainly in our memory. And I also can't think of another instance in which the day we started a war, we committed one of the most egregious civilian atrocities and war crimes that anyone can think of. It's such a hyperbolic example that you would think, oh, the United States military dropped a bomb on an all-girls elementary school, like the most sympathetic target that you could conjure up, and that's actually what happened.
An orphanage too.
Yes, that's the only way it could have been worse if they were orphan girls, sitting at the in the school or whatever. But this happened.
Not orphan girls yet.
Give it time. Give it time. Trump is going to reunite some families with this war or whatever. Yes, he's got a lot to make up for. And so, listen, the strike, when it first happened, I first heard about it. I think the death toll was 50 or 70, something like that. And I was like, there was a girls' elementary school in Iran that was bombed. Dozens of girls killed, and the count kept going higher. I think now it's up to 168, maybe 110 kids and 58 adults or something like that. And when it happened, I remember watching this something on Twitter. It was like this Israeli defense minister or whatever the title is over there. And they said, hey, what about this bomb? Because it was a joint U.S.-Israeli operation. They said, what about this bomb, this missile that took out a girls' elementary school? What's up with that? He says, listen, All I can tell you is that was not our missile. And I was like, ooh, when I heard that, I was like, oh no, that is not good right there, because immediately the Israelis threw the United States under the bus. It wasn't us. We didn't bomb a girls' school. And trust me, we have no problem bombing girls' schools. And we didn't do it this time. And just leaving the U.S. out to dry. And then when they asked the United States officials about it, they said no comment. And it's like, ooh, oh no, oh God, this is terrible. And so it kept, and then of course, turns out, yeah, obviously it was us. I don't believe it was a deliberate targeting. I think that from what the investigation, I think New York Times did an investigation on it, that the map they had was older, like the labels on the map was older, and that this was a military target 5 years ago whenever the map was made, and they launched it thinking that it was. Turns out it wasn't, because like John always says, this administration is just full of incompetent people, just slipshod top to bottom. No one's crossing any T's, dotting any I's or anything. And they asked Donald Trump about it. Donald Trump, when asked, said, hey, we actually, because at first people tried denying it or saying that, it was something else. And then there was a picture of the actual Tomahawk missile or a video of it. It was very clear it was one of ours. And I think Trump said, actually, this is the clip I'm thinking about here. Let me see.
President, you just suggested that Iran somehow got its hands on a Tomahawk and bombed its own elementary school on the first day of the war. But you're the only person in your government saying this. Even your defense secretary wouldn't say that when he was asked, standing over your shoulder on your plane on Saturday. Why are you the only person saying this?
Because I just don't know enough about it. I think it's something that I was told is under investigation. But Tomahawks are used by others, as you know. Numerous other nations have Tomahawks. They buy them from us. But I will certainly, whatever the report shows, I'm willing to live with that report.
Okay, so yeah, Trump suggested that somehow the Iranian government got a hold of an enemy foreign military's missile. They purchased it from somewhere. Because Trump's right, we do sell Tomahawk missiles to other countries, like 3 other countries, like the UK, Australia, and Japan or something like that. And that somehow, like, we accidentally sold a Tomahawk missile to the Iranian government. They launched a Tomahawk missile. It either to do a false flag, or it misfired and bombed their own school. And it's the old buy a foreign military's missile and then attack your own school trick. Gets them every time. And he just said it, just pulled it out of thin air. And then when he was cornered on it, a reporter asked him, hey, what's up with that? We asked Pete Hegseth, we asked the Department of Defense. No one's backing you on the story. And the leader of the free world, the commander-in-chief of the United States military, says, yeah, I just don't know anything about it, so I made something up. Once again, we're running out of ways to say that this is clown world. This is insane. This shouldn't be happening. But I'm actually surprised we don't hear more talk about this, because this is one of the worst civilian casualties in the Middle East, which is really saying something. And we did it right off the bat, like immediately. I guess as we're really used to kids dying in school in the United States, so maybe that's why it's not resonating or something. But I figured this would be a bigger deal, that more people would be talking about it. What about you?
That's a good point. Just like, yeah, they were in a school. Everyone understands the risk of that child being in school. It could happen any day. No, I think that I want to do a play-by-play here, because First he says, the question is, you're the only person in our government saying this. And I'm pretty damn sure that reporter is the one who asked him on Air Force One, when Pete Hegseth was standing behind him, about the attack too. He planted this. He planted the trap, and Trump walked right into it. And it's very funny because he throws to Hegseth behind him on the plane, and Hegseth's like, no, we're gonna walk back everything he just said, because he's like that's bad, Don, but I can't say that. And then he's like, the question is, why are you the only one saying this? And Trump's answer is, well, because I just don't know much about it. And if I don't know much about it, I just have to make sure. That's the implication behind that statement, is that Donald Trump thinks that if he doesn't know much about something, he should just make up an answer, which is great advice most of the time. If you work in most professions, if you don't know something about something, just make up an answer and state it confidently. You are going to be more successful in life, given some wins and losses there. But when you're talking about a war, when you're talking about launching a Patriot missile into a fucking school full of little girls, That isn't really an appropriate answer, Don. It's really not an appropriate answer. And the fact that he just continues on and no one gives a shit, well, you know what, TJ? It's kind of an appropriate answer now. We're just okay with that. With the president of the United States not even knowing why we launched a strike on a school. He could have just said, I won't comment on that. That's a pending investigation. That's all he had to say. It's very simple, but no. Donnie can't do that. That would show weakness. He just says, yeah, I don't really know. And then he says at the end of it, and if the investigation turns out we did it, I'm willing to live with that. Just straight up, I'm willing to live with killing little schoolgirls with a Patriot missile. Done, Puppy. Well done.
Yeah, Hugh Jass kind of nails the "we're so evil" thing, and yeah, it's we all had this moment where, oh my God, we're the bad guys. Like we're sending Emperor Palpatine is sending drones. You know, like this is us. This is what we're backing here.
TJ, I'm waiting for the next fucking clip that they drop to literally be pulling from Starship Troopers.
Oh.
It's going to happen, TJ. I'm just warning you. I'm surprised it hasn't happened already. There is going to be a White House AI generated fucking video putting clips of Starship Troopers into clips of us bombing Iran. It's going to happen. Just be prepared for it.
I am shocked it hasn't happened too, by the way. But yeah, Starship Troopers is one of those films. I've told the story on the show before. I didn't see Starship Troopers until a few years ago, maybe 3-4 years ago was when I saw Starship Troopers. And I was around when Starship Troopers came out, and I'm going to guess 96, something like that. And I remember seeing the commercials for it. It looked like, your standard, cheesy popcorn action film. That's what it looked like. And so I was like, no, it doesn't sound interesting to me. I'm not going to watch that. And I knew a lot of people who did, and all said that they liked it. It was years later, like 10, 15 years later, when I found out that this movie is a satire about the war machine and how fascism just blends itself into culture and how people just live with it. I don't remember anybody saying that. I saw a lot of people watch Starship Troopers. I don't remember one person saying this is a great critique of fascism. No one said that. And I watched it, and holy shit, John, they couldn't be more obvious about it. It's actually weird watching it today because of how prescient it is, that you're watching it and they have their own Fox News, which wasn't really a thing back then. They have this map showing where the bug planet is. This is where we are, and the galaxy. Bug planet is way over here on the other side of the galaxy, and they're a threat. It's the same shit. It's the same shit you see every day. It's like someone went back in time and recorded this. Taking to Starship Troopers and the military, John. Have you seen that Caroline Leavitt was asked, I think, by Marie Bartiromo on Fox if the Trump administration is considering a draft? And her answer was, all options are still on the table. Have you heard anything about this? This affects you, John. I believe you're in drafting age, so this is going to be...
I mean, everyone's in drafting age if you try hard enough. I'm certainly not in the first round, but I definitely have bone spurs, so that's not... Just putting that out there on the public record that I have bone spurs, just in case anyone is listening right now. I need to prove that later. I'm not they can't do a draft. they can't. TJ, there's very few things I would ever say that Trump cannot do and will not do. If he were to try and implement a draft, I would say I'd like to see him try. You know what? Go ahead and do it, Don. Go ahead and do it. Implement a draft to send fucking people against their will to go fight a war in Iran. See how that plays in the year 2026. It's not going to go well. I cannot imagine any scenario in which that could end in. That's one thing he could do that might actually end in his removal from office.
Why are you so confident that the draft will not be implemented?
Because TJ, I've been very publicly on the record that I, as someone who is very involved in politics, I give way more of a shit about this stuff than 99%, maybe not 99, 95% of Americans. I am very far away from any sort of talk of civil war. I'm not going to pick up a gun and risk my life to do shit. It's just my life's too good. We're too comfortable here in America. If you're going to forcibly change that fucking that proposition for me, if you're going to change the math and say you're going to pick up a gun, so which side are you fighting on? I'm gonna fight with the good guys, TJ. There's just no world in which there is a draft where there's like, oh, yep, all of you people from all of these households, you're going to go and fight a war in Iran, and the American people don't fucking revolt. Like, I just cannot see it happening, TJ. Not for this.
Yeah, I agree. I'm inclined to agree. I've said for a while now that I don't think that there's any danger. I've seen a lot of people doing videos, a lot of talk about, hey, Trump is starting a war. Looks like this might be a big one. And people talked about, and Caroline Leavitt wouldn't deny that Trump is going to institute a draft. And I don't think, or more or less know, that the United States government learned their lesson in Vietnam. It's like why a draft won't work. Now, maybe, like John said, maybe the threat was large enough. Like, say it was a World War II style thing that, oh, wow, this Hitler guy might actually take over the world. Like, this is actually a legitimate threat. I would argue if it was that big of a threat and everybody knew it, you still wouldn't need to institute a draft. You wouldn't need to. Yes, people. If you really thought that your life, your home, your family, your friends were in danger, of course you'd sign up to fight. If you could, you would. This is why revolution, like I was mentioning, we're so too comfortable, is such a borderline unattainable with our society right now. That your life has to be so bad that you're willing to die to make it better. That's pretty bad. That most people's lives are not anywhere near that bad. And even if it's terrible and you'd like it to be better, why would you sign up to fight when you could let someone else fight and then get the same result? And certainly with a domestic like civil war or whatever, the result might be worse. You don't know what you're going to end up with, which is why Trump, bombing the leadership is so terrible. You don't know what's coming next. It would be one thing if they had like people in Iran, to try to subvert the government, take it over immediately. They didn't have that. But no, the draft situation, there's nothing worse in the military. Like in the army, if you have a soldier in the unit who absolutely does not want to be there, who hates his life, who hates everything around him, who hates everybody in the unit, that cancer is the worst thing that could happen to you. And that's just for a disgruntled soldier, let alone some guy who's forced to be there, who has no dog in this fight. He doesn't care about the Iranian government. He couldn't find Iran on a map with a gun to his head. And you're going to force this guy into a unit and say, yeah, we need you to go kill some people. He's going to kill you. They'll be fragging their leadership just like they were doing in Vietnam. So I'm not too worried about that. It is fun to talk about, though. I think it's interesting. Lemoyne says, my son just turned 18. He said he fragged his unit if he got drafted. Yep, absolutely. I wish more people read political theory, but unfortunately, Americans, by and large, are functionally illiterate. Yeah, and also, even they just don't care. No one's going to care about this Iran thing. They care when their oil prices rise. That's when they're going to care, but not enough to go shoot someone. That's not going to solve the problem.
By the way, TJ, I have to tell this little anecdote.
Oh, let's go.
As some of you know, we were not broadcasting last week because I was in Colombia for a work trip. My work trip involved taking our affiliates out who sell our product, and a lot of these guys are very rich traders. They trade for a living, day trading, and then they stream it and they sell our products, which is why we bring this out on this trip. And I'm talking to one, very much a right-wing fella, and he's going off, he's spouting, he's like us, he's opinionated, right? But he's like, name me one thing you don't like about Trump. And I was like, genuinely, like, you're a trader, you should understand, like, what do you think about the tariffs? TJ, he looked me straight in the eye. I need to explain. This is a person who makes millions of dollars trading currencies, and including fucking oil, and including all of these fucking. This is how he makes his money. He looked me straight in the eye and he said, "Honestly, I don't know what tariffs are. Explain to me what a tariff is."
No, come on,
TJ,
on. I don't believe you, John. I don't.
TJ, I know I wouldn't believe me either. I understand why you don't. I had to do everything I can to not straight up laugh at this guy because it was the most comical answer you could possibly give. But these are the people we're fucking dealing with, TJ. He didn't know what a tariff was. Not that he was confused about who paid or not. He just straight up did not know what it was. And when I told him it was a tax, he's like, no, that can't be right.
Oh, come on.
Like, no,
come on. John.
This is who we're dealing with, DJ.
John, I hate that story so much. I hate that story so much. That is, and this guy does finance stuff for a living, right? This
For
guy
a
works.
living. He trades currencies and commodities and future. This is what he does. This is how he makes his money, and he somehow doesn't know. I know how tariffs impact these fucking a lot of these currencies and these commodities. I don't know how he doesn't even know what the fuck they are. It genuinely blew my mind.
John, was he 18 years old?
No, he's older than me, TJ. Not as old as you, but older than me.
This is incredible. Like that actually, honestly, that really surprises me because look, I'd be willing to accept that it'd be hard to accept, but I'd be willing to do it. That say someone worked in finance in 2021, and they didn't know what a tariff was. All right, maybe you don't deal much with international stuff. Fine, my video's really lagging. I know what's up with that, but that's fine. But after last year, after Trump spent the entire year talking about tariffs, just after everyone, CNBC, Wall Street Journal, like anyone who is tangentially connected to finance talked about the results of the tariffs and what's going to happen. Someone of that field not even being able to define the word tariff is mind-blowing to me. Mind-blowing. I remember watching this clip. It was like Jay Leno or Jimmy Kimmel or something like that. And they do these man on the street interviews. And, they embarrass people by asking them simple questions, which is kind of cheating. That if you go up to a random person and stick a microphone and a camera in front of their face and ask them an 8th grade math question, most people will freeze up. Most people will. It doesn't mean you're dumb. It just means that, you're not used to solving problems on the spot. But they did this interview, these things where they asked people, they informed people. They had a piece of paper there, they had a microphone and camera, said, hey, did you hear that Franklin Delano Roosevelt died today? What do you think about that? And people, and every one of them said, oh my God, Franklin Delano Roosevelt died today. President Roosevelt died. Oh, that's so sad. He was such a great man. He did a lot for this country and, gave this generic eulogy that you would give for any president. Oh, it's a real shame and it's a real national treasure. And I watched that and I've never forgotten that. It's like, these people I'm talking to. These are the people that I'm talking to when I'm trying to discuss geopolitics, historical context of what's going on, finance issues. It's like, oh yeah, people don't know FDR died 80 fucking years ago. They couldn't tell you anything about him, but oh yeah, I remember there's a president named FDR. And yeah, the tariff thing, that breaks my heart, John. I'm so sorry. Wait, what did you tell him? What did you tell him going forward?
Oh, I told him what tariff was. I explained how it worked, and he agreed with me that was a bad idea. But so like that's the thing. These guys are just very, very confidently wrong. They know they are somehow aware that they don't know what the fuck they're talking about, and yet that doesn't prevent them from being so confidently wrong. Like I was dumbfounded, but I'm very good at talking to these people, and it's like I know how to slide right in there, plant the correct ideas, and then just hope they do some fucking research at any other point in their life. Like that's all you can do, because you can't fight fire with fire in that situation, because they're just going to continue to be confidently wrong. You have to be like, oh yeah, no, this is the information you need here, and then hope that it maybe rings some fucking bells in their brain. There's very little you can do to someone who doesn't know what a tariff is and is talking about international policy.
This doesn't bode well for our thought process with people in the support of the Iran war and everything. And this guy can't tell you what a tariff is. He couldn't tell you anything about why we're in Iran. He hears we're bombing Iran. It's like, oh, that's a foreign Muslim nation. Let's go. Good for that. I can see him getting support from those folks. But I don't know. That's just any other last thoughts on Iran? I want to do a lot of banter. Get the serious thing out of the way. But any more final thoughts on the Iran war going on? Oh,
yeah, this is obviously going to be a topic that we continue to cover because it's not going away anytime soon. I think that more than anything, this will clink Trump. Like I think this is the thing that really is the nail in the coffin, and it's because this is the sort of thing that really Americans will care about. Like that, as when it affects them economically and there is a war going on, that's the kind of thing that makes everyone pay attention, and nobody really likes it. And I just don't think that he will survive the the midterms here. Like, I think that, like, if it keeps going like this and we do have an economic collapse that will happen if things continue going like this, it will happen right around the midterms. And TJ, I don't know why Democrats, again, I keep saying this. I say this every couple months on the show. The goal should be impeach Donald Trump. The goal should be win enough seats in the House and the Senate to impeach Donald Trump. I don't know why no Democratic leadership has dared to fucking say that that's the goal, because it isn't their goal, because they want to fucking set expectations low and then fail to meet them instead of setting them high and get people energized to meet them. But that's what it should be right now. It should be, hey guys, the only way we're going to stop this war is to get enough people in Congress to impeach Donald Trump. That's it. That's the message. It's a very clear campaign message, and they're going to fucking flub it.
So you think that Trump can be removed for this? I don't think that's possible, honestly.
Well, I think if he was playing against a competent opponent, he could be. Do I think he's going to be? No, because the Democrats can't play this hand. But I do think that it would, the ability to do so requires a 2008 type collapse, which is very possible to happen. But if it does happen, yeah, I think that's definitely could be on the table for a competent Democratic Party.
Well, the Democrats would need to get a minimum of, I think, 67 seats in the Senate, and that's just that's not going to happen.
If they're taking Texas, they can take anything, and they're taking Texas.
They're not taking Texas.
They're taking Texas.
They're not taking Texas. That's not going to happen. It's not.
Puerto Rico's going to win. I'm telling you.
But yeah, I don't. No, he's not. Well, we'll see. I mean, who knows? But Democrats flirt with trying to get Texas every year somehow, and it never happens. But yeah, is audio coming through fine? My video is jumping really bad.
Yeah, you're definitely delayed there, but it seems like you're coming back a little bit.
Okay. All right. So yeah, I don't think that getting 67 seats is. I don't even know what's available. Like, I don't know what seats are even up.
It doesn't matter if they do
a
it.
third of the seats.
The
obviously,
point is to make that the goal. The point is to make that the goal. Shoot for the moon, you land among the stars. If they don't get it, that's fine. No one actually expected them to, but that's something that people can get behind. Stop the fucking war. We need this many seats to take Trump out and stop the war. Very simple campaign message. Just will energize the population, get oil prices back down, fix the economy, get rid of the terror. Like, again, these all relate together, and that is the goal they should be aiming for. Promise the moon. That's what Donald Trump does all the time. Does he ever succeed?
Yeah.
No, but it fucking works.
Okay, I got that there. All right, so Mark commented, I thought you guys were in favor of the war. How else do we free Iran? I was never in favor of the war, Mark, so I'll go there. And
Mark, to very specifically answer your question, I'm not in favor of a war with Iran. I was in favor of targeted military intervention in order to facilitate a peaceful solution. That is what I was in favor of. Or some other sort of military intervention just to prevent the absolute onslaught that was going on. A protruded war with Iran is never something I was supportive of. Let's be very clear about this.
Okay, all right, just moving on with that. All right, so I wanted to, maybe we should do the banner last usually. I think that might be something to think about. But all right. So, John, someone put a comment here. I forgot to pull it up right when we started. I wanted to. Give me 1 second here. It was, Colby, once again, coming in with a banger. Our goated white boy comes back with a tan and a smile on his face over the Iranian war. That was funny. Mark Thomas reminded me of that, like John smiling ear to ear with a glowing tan. Oh, how was your time in South America, John, other than the chud that you spoke to?
No, I mean, it was a fine time. I got seriously burned. We were at one point on a boat with 2 engines when one of the engines failed, and we had to limp for an hour and a half back to shore, and I got so burned. It was not pleasant. So that wasn't fun. Colombia is a fine place. Like, genuinely, I liked a lot of the people I met there. But goddamn, it is even in the tourist areas we were in, very, 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 very not well off. To the extent where you're just like, this sucks. I don't like traveling to places like that because it just makes me feel bad about having any money in my pocket. Although it is nice to just buy, I don't know, 1 million pesos and just give them to anyone you walk past on the street. And that's nice. You can kind of act like a baller pretending to help people. And I guess it does help them, but damn, it's just hard to vacation in a place that's so depressing.
Yeah, yeah. I've never been to Colombia or South America at all, for that matter, but that does sound like an interesting place to go to. About the exchange rates and everything. About 23 years ago, I was in China, and I remember, like, at that time, the exchange rate, $1 I think was worth 8 Chinese yuan, like, or Chinese dollars worth 8 Chinese yuan, and you could get those 8 yuan. And those yuan could be split up into 10 jiao, so or cents. So basically, one of and their cents, their penny or their pennies or 100 jiao. Sorry, their pennies and their dimes. Their dimes were sheets of paper, which is pretty weird. Like, their dime was actually a little sheet of paper. So your $1, you could get, what's that, 80 sheets of paper or 80 bills or something. So we would play blackjack with each other, me and my friends and everything, with giant piles of Chinese money, just massive stacks of cash. It was like $43 or whatever, but you felt like a huge baller because you were just shoving stacks of cash to people while you're going. So yeah, that is fun, going to different locations and everything. I don't know when you got back, pretty recently. Oh yeah, actually you were back on Tuesday at least. But
yeah, I got back like early Tuesday morning, late Monday night.
Okay. Yeah. But I don't know if you're a big sports guy or not. Well, I know you got football and everything. I know about basketball. Did you see that Bam Adebayo scored 83 points in one game? Did you see that?
I did see that. I didn't watch the game, but I saw that and I said, Bam Adebayo? Like, how did that happen? That's the second highest scoring game in NBA history. Bam Adebayo.
Look, so when I was younger, even like well past John's age, I would watch sports all the time. I knew every player, I knew the stats, I knew like the history going back and everything. I was like all into it. So when I got rid of cable a few years ago, I watch way fewer sports. I don't know anything that's going on in sports anymore, but I do know names. And I knew the name Bam Adebayo. I couldn't tell you who he played for, but I knew he wasn't in like the LeBron James, Steph Curry, Kevin Durant echelon of players. I knew that much, or at least that's what I thought. And then I woke up, was it this morning? Yes, I can't remember, this morning. And I saw Bam Adebayo scores 83 points in one game. I said, is Bam Adebayo that good? Have I this whole time I've not known this? Oh,
he's not TJ. Like, he's not that good. Like it was just the most random thing to happen.
Yeah, and then I was like, well, I got to see this. Like, how did I not know that there's this generational NBA player out there? Once again, it's not like he's a scrub. It's not like he's a bad player. I think he made an all-star team, yeah. But he's not someone who you would expect would score 50 points, let alone 83. And for context here, Wilt Chamberlain has the record for the most points in an NBA game, 100 points. Second is Kobe Bryant. Now, Kobe Bryant, everybody saw that. You know, it was years ago. They're like, oh, Kobe Bryant grinded his way through, one of the most respected players in the league. Wilt Chamberlain, nothing to prove. He scored for one season 50 points a game. Even though, I don't know if you heard people talk about, some people are, you know, doubting that the 100-point game actually happened because there's no video of it. Stupid, ridiculous, insane, or whatever. However, when I saw that Bam Adebayo scored 83, okay, I don't want to hear anybody say Wilt Chamberlain didn't score 100. I don't want to hear a single fucking soul tell me that Wilt fucking Chamberlain, a 7'1" center in 1962, like one of the most athletic players we've ever seen. I mean, the guy would have been a space alien back in 1962, right? Playing with guys who played basketball as a second job. I mean, of course he scored 100 points, or why wouldn't he? But Bam Adebayo scored 100 points too. You put him in the 1960s. I don't want to hear anybody saying that they doubted Wilt Chamberlain after doing what Bam Adebayo did.
That's that is 100% accurate. Nothing else to say there. Before we move on, just wanted to address Kobe's comment. Did you stay away from the evil Colombian women? Coincidentally, same exact first question my mother-in-law asked me. Apparently, Colombian women have a reputation, which I have to say, I was going and expecting to just be like, based on everything I've heard from various people, just be trounced with hookers all over us, because I was traveling with a clearly well-off group of fuckboys. And that was not the case. Like, it was just like any other bar scene I've been to. It wasn't anything incredibly egregious. I was actually surprised by how relatively calm the nightlife was there. Now you do have people just walking up to you and like offering to sell you whatever drug you want. That's a thing that happens. But and there were definitely hookers. But yeah, there's hookers here too.
Oh, that's disappointing. Well, it wasn't the last thing. I want to talk about Colombia a little bit too. Get back to that. But Mark wrote, Wilt scored 100 because he was hitting his free throws. I mean, Bam Adebayo hit 43 free throws. Like half his points came from free throws. Wilt hit like 30 free throws, I think, in his 100-point game. Bam Adebayo literally got 50% of his points, over 53% of his points from the free throw line. Set an NBA record. But Colombia, I remember, did you ever watch Narcos, John?
I did not watch Narcos, no. But I did see Pablo Escobar's house in Colombia.
Oh, well, tell me about that. How'd you sleep on that? Tell me about Pablo Escobar's house.
Well, first of all, Pablo Escobar's house could refer to many different buildings in Colombia.
Fair.
Many, many houses. This used to be clearly a beautiful white villa, like, I mean, just out of Scarface, right? But again, it's totally worn down. Like, it's trash everywhere. It's like the entire country is just what a rural PA, like coal town of that just degradation that you just see everywhere in all of those places. That's the entire country. You cannot walk a block anywhere in the country without seeing some dilapidated building or anything like that. And this is Pablo Escobar's house. You'd think they'd establish it as like an obvious tourist destination. No, it's just kind of sitting there collecting dust. And that's just the whole fucking place. It's really sad.
That is kind of a bummer. With Pablo Escobar, I watched Narcos, and so I knew a little bit about Escobar and everything, but I liked his, he would say this thing, it was like a plomo y plata, I think, which translates into silver or lead. That was kind of a threat to the police, that you either accept bribes or I'm going to shoot you. And he ran for Congress. I didn't know this, but he was in the Colombian Congress for a few years. Did you know that?
Yep.
That was good shit. All right, Colby wanted to know. Thanks Great, John. Thank you. Well, I know. I was like, yep, I knew. Like, all right, well.
I thought you had another point there. I thought you were just asking for, like, to clarify.
Never mind. Colby asked this question before. Invincible season 4. Are you excited? I think it comes out in 6 days or so.
Yeah, I'm catching up. Not catching up. I've already watched it, but I'm rewatching season 3 right now to prepare for season 4. Should we do? I don't know. I don't think we can do weekly content on Invincible. We could.
I don't see why not.
I don't see why not. I mean, we could. It's not good. Yeah, fine. We'll do it weekly. Every week.
Absolutely. I don't know what day does it
segment on the show.
Yeah, Tuesday or Thursday, whichever when it comes out. I'm all in on that. Yeah, I can't wait for Invincible season 4. I can't wait. This show. I like it. Like. I used to say that, The Boys and Invincible were my favorite. They probably are, but Invincible is better than The Boys, I think. I'm really jazzed to get Invincible off the ground and see where this goes. I'm all in the show. I can't wait. So yeah, folks, we are definitely going to do that. It's on Wednesdays. Okay, great. Well, I don't know. You might not be able to watch it Wednesday night, and I may not either. So maybe on Tuesday we'll try to get going, because there's no guarantee you'll be able to see it.
Let's try to make an effort to watch it on Wednesday nights, and we can't promise to do it every time, but let's try and be topical with it.
Yeah, God, yeah. I'm sure John feels the same way. I haven't asked him, but I'm positive he feels the same way on this. That I don't like it when shows release all their episodes at once, when you can just binge through an entire season in a day or a day and a half. I think that it takes away from, the water cooler conversation. Like Invincible come out, and then you talk about it with your friends, you theorize, you critique, you have a lot of fun with it. If you watch the entire thing, it's just all over. There's nothing to talk about anymore. I guess you could, but the mystery and the intrigue and the suspense is gone. I used to like binging, but years and years ago, I realized, this is actually a bad thing, because the show doesn't sit with you. You don't have time to think about it and process and everything. You just, speed through and blur. And I lament that. That's my old man yells at cloud moment there. I think binging shouldn't, once it's released, fine. But like when it's actually out during its seasons, I think it should be one episode at a time.
100% correct. The point of episodic television is to be with you for a period of time. If you're binging a show that's already existed, then that stays with you. You go through season. it's a part of that time in your, if it's really good, you remember where you were, what you were doing at that time in your life when you're watching the show. And same thing for a show that comes out normally, episodically, every single week. I remember where I was at various points during Game of Thrones. It was a cultural touchstone. And you don't get that. If you release a new season, everyone just watches it over a weekend. You stop talking about it after a week and you forget about it. And it really doesn't have as much of an impact on you. It's dumb.
Mark says this is an interesting take on binging. Mark, this is the correct take on binging. I refuse to hear any arguments to the contrary that binging is an inferior way. What it treats, like John said, this is episodic content. It is actually meant to be enjoyed in blocks, not all at once. It's not an 8-hour movie. Basically, it takes away from the entire thing. I disagree with this entirely. All right, back to politics, John. Okay, back to politics. That's our banter, mid-show banter we are going here. So 2 weeks ago, 3 maybe, at this time, John had a segment planned of going over Christi Noem's history or whatever, and we never got a chance to do it. It was always derailed by something, and now she's gone. Now she's fired, which is, a shame. But also, John, can you believe it took this long for someone to go from Trump's administration? Like, Trump's cabinet stayed intact for the most part up until now. This, I think, is the first person fired that I can think of.
And the funny thing is, TJ, I read reports, and obviously there's a lot of smoke and mirrors around all of this. You can't necessarily see through the fog of internal cabinet war. But I read several reports, which I do believe that it was even less about Christi Noem as it was about Trump wanting to upgrade Senator Mullen. I'm not even going to try and pronounce his first name. I always get it wrong. But he really liked him. He wanted a spot for him, and Christi had just worn out her welcome enough for him to be like, well, I'm going to replace you. If he hadn't had someone ready to replace her, she could have probably gone on forever. I think the thing that matters most to Trump is that they are loyal to Trump. If there's someone who's more loyal that might be able to replace you and you're causing bad news for Trump, then you might be gone. And I think that's the reason why we've seen the cabinet be so intact, that the people who are actually lining up to do these jobs, it requires a level of insane sycophancy that not many people are willing to actually do. Not many people are willing to just eat shit every day and be so bad at their job and just be so terrible for people in general. It actually, and just ruin any other career they might ever have if the whole Trump thing goes bust. It takes a lot to get someone to do that. And I think that's the reason, more than anything else, that we've seen Christi Noem be the first person to be fired well over a year after Trump took office. People don't want these jobs for the most part. That's why the people who are in them are all incompetent, all unqualified, and all just total fucking sycophants.
I hadn't heard this theory that Trump fired Noem primarily because he wanted to hire Mark Wayne Mullen, as Colby refers to him, as a two first names.
Yes, two first names. It's one of those things where it's inside sources say, you don't necessarily know it to be true, but usually with those sort of things, there's no camp that would release. I mean, I guess maybe the Noem camp, I don't know, but it seems to me like one of those things that even if it isn't necessarily true that it's the number one factor, I do think it supports the theory that the reason there hasn't been more firings is because these jobs aren't good. These jobs are usually seen as stepping stones in a career in politics. A lot of people who take on these positions see them as not necessarily their end all be all, but something they want to move to higher office later. Like Pete Buttigieg. He didn't want to be the Secretary of Transportation. He wanted to be president. And so he took the Secretary of Transportation job in order to be president one day. If that's the case, if you want future political aspirations, are you really anchoring yourself to this ship and putting yourself in a position to say and do the things on camera that all of these cabinet members are required to do as part of the job? No, they're done. They're not getting jobs in politics after this. They're just cashing in while they can. And I think Christi Noem actually thought she could. Christi Noem and whatever her fucking dude was, the campaign manager. Lewandowski, right?
Mhm.
Like Lewandowski was telling her that she could do it. She could be president one day. And oh my God, no, she can't be. No, she cannot. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? There's no world that's possible. Hillary Clinton will be president before Christi Noem. And Hillary Clinton can die, and I'll still say that. That's it. I wouldn't take it, TJ. If I had any political aspirations, I would not take a job in the Trump cabinet. Only people never had any. It's why he's pulling from the fucking bench. Like none of these people were, except for Marco Rubio.
Marco Rubio,
Who genuinely is taking this position to run in 2028. He will run in 2028.
Well,
that's why he took this position. And no one else is going to sign up to do these jobs.
I would say Marco Rubio and Vance. Vance too. Like I think Rubio is probably better than Vance.
Vance is from the benches. Vance was a new senator, a freshman senator when he was tapped for VP.
I thought you meant people who could possibly have a political future. I think Vance definitely does. Afterward, I see what you're saying.
Vance was a step up. Like Vance using the step up as a tool to get there. Yeah. But anyone who has some sort of solid ground right now and has no reason to be desperate, why would you take a job in this administration? Like you have to say terrible things on camera that are going to be very unpopular in order, just as a basic job responsibility, and it's just not beneficial for you.
Yeah. So all right. I don't know if I agree with you or Mark here, because Mark wrote, John, no, I think this is why Trump is not really a fascist. He sees people getting unpopular and responds to public pressure. I don't know about that. I don't know. That might be because Trump never gave a reason. He just said, "Hey, I like Mark Wayne Mullen, and I'm going to reassign." He didn't speak about it as a firing. He just said, "I'm going to put her in a different position." Although it absolutely was a firing. I don't know if he gives a shit the fact that she's unpopular. Has Christi Noem done anything that Trump said? That was bad. That was wrong. I don't agree with that. That's something that
Lewandowski. That's the only thing.
No, there was another because this is actually, here's my theory. Here's my Mark commented again. TJ says, John, I haven't heard of this stupid ass theory. Here's my stupid ass theory. This isn't it's not mine, but I heard about it, and it makes sense to me. I don't believe for it, because since when has Trump cared if the public doesn't like somebody? I mean, as long as they're doing did she do anything that wasn't under Trump's direction and supervision? Did she ever go rogue and say, "Oh, I'm going to do this," although Trump doesn't want me to do that?
She did, yeah. It was very well publicized. The campaign she made.
That's it. Okay, that's it.
He was very upset about that.
That is why I think he was fired. Because that's the only thing I can think of where I could see Trump saying, "Whoa, hold the fuck on here. Wait a minute." So she killed. She had these two guys. Oh, actually, yeah, Mark said the same thing. You guys read my mind. Yeah, she claimed Trump greenlit the advertising and 200 million spending. That's why I think she was fired, because Trump was probably insulted by this. In fact, he was. He kind of said it out loud, where he said, "She spent $200 million on a campaign ad. That's how much I spent in my entire presidential campaign." Only Donald Trump is allowed to, swindle millions of dollars from the United States public. Only he can do that. I think he was actually offended by this. That no, you guys have your groups on the side and everything, but they get too big. They start interfering and comparing to mine. Now you're getting too big for your britches. It's kind of like Donald Trump wouldn't want to be around people who he saw as genuine threat. I don't think he saw Noem as a threat, but her head got too big. I think that makes more sense than he was unhappy with the way she was handling stuff with ICE, even though every time something happened with ICE, full support from Trump, or that he gave a shit that she was fucking Corey Lewandowski. Guarantee he didn't care about that. I think that it was the campaign thing. That one makes a lot more sense to me. Or that he liked Mark Wayne Mullen so much. I hadn't heard that. I didn't even know they were buddies or anything. But it didn't seem like that would be, in my head, enough of a reason to get rid of Noem.
Yeah, and who know? It is obvious. There's so many factors that you can't just say it's one thing. It's obviously a combination of many things. I don't really understand the argument that because he responds to public pressure, he's not a fascist. That doesn't make any sense. There's no part of fascist ideology that says you have to ignore political reality. anyone who is like, there's a person in this world right now who isn't the president of the United States, and he is a fascist, and like he doesn't have the power to implement these policies, but that doesn't mean he would if he did. Like that it's an ideology. It's not a set of policies. So that's very confusing to me. And he doesn't respond. The public fucking hated Christi Noem. Like for a long time before this. Like she has been incredibly unpopular. All of the fucking ICE raids under the DHS have been incredibly unpopular. This war in Iraq is the most unpopular war at the start of a war that we have had in modern history. Like, yeah, like I don't think he's responding to public pressure very much. And when he does, I don't think that's evidence that he isn't fascist. I've never heard that to be part of the fascist playbook at all, ever.
Yeah, fascism doesn't. I mean, the public could support your fascism too. I mean, it's like it's not. It's not an exclusive thing. Yeah, Mark has brought this up before that there are times when Trump says, "Okay, the public doesn't like this. I'm not going to do that. Therefore, he's not a fascist." Because I think Mark is. I think where Mark coming from is saying that fascists are like definitionally authoritarian to its most extreme limits, in that he's just going to be a dictator in every sense and not care about anything else. And I don't think I don't think you could say that's exactly what a fascist is, because yeah, like John brought the war in Iran, that okay, so since the war in Iran is unpopular and Trump's doing it anyway, does that make him a fascist? No, it doesn't. So people do that, but you can't just point out this example and say, aha, he didn't do that, so he is or is not a fascist. So what is his ideology? Is it fascist? I would argue that it's very obviously fascist.
And I think like look at like Homelander, right? Mark, I don't know if you are the Boys viewer, but I know much of our audience is, or at least you better be with how much we fucking talk about it. Like Homelander, that's his kryptonite, is public pressure. Like he has a intense need to be loved by the public. It's the only reason that anything can stop him in the entire show. And he's obviously a fucking fascist. Like straight through, he is a supremacist fucking fascist.
He's a supremacist.
To be the supreme leader and set up a hierarchical world in which humans serve the fucking superior race. Like definitionally, all the way through, that character is a fascist. So and he responds to public pressure. It's the only thing he responds to, because force doesn't apply to him. You know what I mean? It is an odd take you have there.
I will say that Homelander's character is a great character. And was it season 2 with Stormfront? I think it's season 2. Stormfront is a Nazi. She's actually from the Nazis, the actual Nazi days, back in Germany and everything. And there's a scene at the end of season 2 when Homelander is talking to, or when Stormfront is talking to Ryan, Homelander's son. And she's telling him that the world is a dangerous place and they're coming after us, and we really need to protect our own. These minorities out there, these non-whites, are the huge problem. And Homelander is like, what the fuck? He's like, what the fuck is she talking? Homelander is bewildered. He's looking at her with this weird look there, because to Homelander, a character like Homelander would never give a shit about something as insignificant or as meaningless as race. He doesn't care. The way he sees it, he sees superheroes, regular people. That's the divide. Their skin color is inconsequential. And from that standpoint, I did this with Invincible, and I hate that I'm doing it again with Homelander, with The Boys. I kind of get why he says that, right? Because there actually is a difference between supes and regular people. And yeah, if I can fly and if I'm impervious pain or harm, I am different than you guys. I'm not the same. We should have different rules. Yes, Heather, I'm a supremacist in a lot of ways. And just like I think Omni-Man had a point that he's 5,000 years old. He knows a thing or two about this whole existing thing. He's seen societies rise and fall. He's seen entire planets and civilizations crumble to dust and blow away. Maybe he should be in charge. Maybe he knows better than someone who's lived, 55 years compared to 5,000 years. Maybe, I don't know. It's not insane. And you can say it's not insane for him to think that. So yeah, fascism is just limited to, or involves you thinking one certain group is superior. You can't really do that with human beings because we're all essentially the same person. But yeah, I get where Homelander and Omni-Man are coming from.
Yeah, and I just wanted to comment with GMA here. He says, yeah, we're not getting our ass kicked in Iran, by the way. You must be watching CNN. I don't know how you could describe what's happening in Iran as anything more than we're getting our asses kicked. This was supposed to be a one-day military operation where we took out their leadership and the people immediately seized power, and then we were out of there, and we're still fighting, and we're still spending money, and we're still dying, all because we chose to do this. And what are we getting from it? What have we won? We've only lost. We only have losses. There have been no wins. We have gained nothing. We have won nothing. We have lost millions and many lives and are at risk of crashing again the entire world economy. I don't see the wins here, bro. I don't see what the wins are. Just because the other side is losing more doesn't mean you're fucking winning.
Yeah,
Welcome
this is
to
like
Vietnam.
exactly. This is essentially like Vietnam, in that when people say that we lost the Vietnam War, that doesn't mean that the Viet Cong came and took over the White House and that they conquered the United States. No, that's not what winning looked like to them. The Iranians know that they have no capability whatsoever of attacking the United States. None at all. And so what they do is they fight this war, essentially a war of attrition, this asymmetrical warfare where they make the war more painful for us than it is for them. And draining our supplies, our public will, wrecking our economy, and it's fucking working. It's working. Listen, do you remember? This is why I'm really mad at Democrats too. I haven't brought this up, John, but back when we did the withdrawal from Afghanistan, we were loading people onto planes. We were getting our troops and our personnel out of there. Yep. And a suicide bomber from a group called ISIS-K, a group I have never heard of before or since. ISIS-K, it's the only time I heard of these folks. They put a suicide bomber in, and they killed, I think, 13 Marines. I think is what happened. 12 or 13 Marines. And from that day to the end of Biden's presidency, every day Republicans talked about this. Every fucking day they said 12 Marines are dead in Afghanistan, and it's Joe Biden's fault. Now, as if he set up the access control points and the security, and whatever, even if you want to go to the extent that the buck stops with the president, that when you're the leader of a military and someone dies, ultimately it's your fault, fine, you can go with that. However, like 60-something people died in Afghanistan when Trump was president. That's not his fault. But the 12 people who died in Afghanistan under Biden, that is his fault. How come Democrats aren't talking about this every day? The fact we have, 8 troops dead? 8? And nothing. And by the way, even if you think that Biden is personally responsible or irresponsible in letting a dozen Marines die that day, that was for something good. That was for the withdrawal from Afghanistan, right? That was a good goal. What the fuck was Trump's goal in bombing the leadership? He can't explain it to you. I doubt that you can explain it to me. So not even for a legitimate cause. And I think that a report came out today or yesterday that there have been, I think the number is 160 injured soldiers since the Iran wars happened. Insane. For fucking nothing. That is what we mean by the fact that we're getting our ass kicked in Iran, because our goals are nebulous. They're opaque. No one can tell you exactly what we're shooting for. You're certainly not the president, but we're not getting anything good out of this. Nothing good has happened to the Iranians or to us. And for Iran, that is a win, and it's not a win for us. That's what we mean.
And Mark says, John, what? Are you serious? Degrading the Iran military, giving Iranian people the opportunity to be free, eliminating the capability of Iran to do proxy wars, silliness. Okay, let's take these points one by one. Degrading the Iran military. That doesn't benefit me in any way, shape, or form. There's zero benefit to degrading the Iran military for the American people. Zero. None. Not one iota. Iran is not invading America under any circumstances. That is not happening. It doesn't, like, their military would have to be so much massively stronger than it is now that we can't even fucking pretend like they're an actual threat to us. So degrading them, what does that do for us? Nothing. Giving Iranian people the opportunity to be free. This one I would just generally agree with, but that's not happening. We're not seeing any movement on that front. They are no more close to being free right now than there were before. We took out the Ayatollah and had no plan to replace him, and boom, they just elect new leaders. They have a system in place for this exact scenario, and we didn't have any plan to hand over power to the Iranian people after we took out their leadership. So what did we do? Like, how are they any closer to being free? If you can show me how they're any closer to toppling the Iranian regime and making Iran a secular democracy, show it to me. That would be a benefit, but I haven't seen it. Eliminating the capability of Iran to do proxy wars. Why do I give a shit? Like, genuinely, why do I give a shit about Iran doing proxy wars? How is that my fucking business? And like, even if you're going to say, yeah, I do give a shit, that's completely and entirely contradictory to every America First argument that the administration is making. Like, it's literally Team America World Police if we're saying that is an objective for the American people to stop Iran from having proxy wars against other fucking countries that have nothing to do with us. Like, I don't even understand how that is a reasonable, good goal for America to have to stop other sovereign nations from going to war with other sovereign nations.
I would also add that I don't think we've actually hindered Iran's capability of committing proxy wars. I don't think. Iran has been more militarily active in the last week than I've ever seen.
Yeah, they have killed more people in other regions as a result of our actions. Like I've seen the death toll go up. I have not seen it go down yet.
Yeah, I don't think that's a argument. If anything, I don't know if Mark saw the beginning of the show. If anything, they've outmaneuvered us when it's come to this air and missile defense. That they're using $20,000 drones and cheap Soviet era surface to air missiles, and we're shooting them down with $5 and $6 million worth of Patriot missiles. That is not good for us. So much that we're actually running out. Lindsey Graham actually went on the news the other day and mentioned that, hey, we're actually running out of ammunition. A weird thing for a senator to just come right out and admit. We didn't run out of ammunition during World War II. Yeah, and so Iran is just draining our supplies. Like, we are shipping in Patriot materials from the other side of the planet, from Korea, to help out with this because we are running out, and they haven't used their big guns yet. And they just blew up, 2 oil tankers in the Strait of Hormuz? None of this is good. Sure, maybe a year from now, we'll look back and say, wow, this was a strategic victory. This was 4D chess. This is obviously a huge win for the United States. As of today, it's not. And the administration can't tell you how it is, other than saying, well, we're going to stop Iran from getting a nuclear weapon, which I said that we did 8 months ago, back in July. So that's what we mean by the United States is losing because...
Tell me what the administration's goals are. I have yet to hear Donald Trump state what the goal of any of this is and how we are supposed to accomplish it. They can't even seem to decide about whether or not we are at war. Like he says, what would you say here, John? Oh, sorry, didn't realize the reasons have to revolve around you. They have to revolve around me personally, but they have to revolve around how it benefits us as a people, how it benefits humanity. Maybe, like, I just don't see what the benefit here is, because there has been none. There has only been bad. And if someone articulated a plan to me about this is our goal and this is how we plan to get there, I'd be willing to hear it. I'd be open to hearing it. I don't like the Iranian regime. I would love to hear a plan for how we can actually eliminate them, but I haven't heard one yet. I just see a lot of shit getting blown up, and there seems to be no plan. We bombed a fucking girls' school. If that was part of the plan, bro, like, it was a bad fucking plan. Like, I don't understand. I don't know what the goal of this war is. How is anyone supposed to support the war if we don't know what the goal is? I don't know what victory is. I don't know what we get out of this. It's bad. No one agrees with you, Mark, by the way. Like, this is an 80-20 issue. Like, people do not want this on both sides of the aisle.
I got a comment here from Michael Conklin saying, so you're telling me that America, the most powerful nation in the world, is running out of missiles? Are you a pro-Islamist terrorist? Are you trying to propagandize to people what's going on? Listen, Michael, I'm not telling you that. The U.S. government is telling you that. Okay. And also it's just easy math. It's just really easy math that, as we mentioned earlier in the show, these missile defense systems, these missiles cost minimum $2 million a pop, sometimes up to $5 million. And we shoot 2 missiles. That is Patriot missile doctrine. I was there. I know. You shoot 2 missiles per target. And if the target you're shooting is a $20,000 drone, you are spending $10 million to shoot down that drone. Does that sound like a sustainable plan to you? Like the Iranian military figured this out. They realized, oh yeah, send a cheap ass drone carrying. This is honestly why we're running out of time here, but why the Strait of Hormuz situation is so tenuous that it doesn't take much these days. Like this is not the Soviet, this is not the Cold War, right? Where we're sending, Top Gun aircraft, fighting each other and everything. You can build a drone for nothing and attach a payload to it and blow up a ship. Your Navy can be there. Trump said, I don't know if you saw that tweet that Trump put out, John, saying that the Navy would escort oil tankers through the Strait of Hormuz. They asked the Navy to confirm. The Navy's like, yeah, we're not saying, we have no comment on that. The Navy's not going to be doing that. It's not going to be happening. We don't have. And if they plug that, I think that's 20% of the world's oil supply. This, once again, all of this directly benefits Iran and China and Russia, by the way. The two biggest winners.
It doesn't benefit China. China gets most of its oil from Iran.
No, China gets their oil from there, but the Chinese are helping the Iranians, and so are the Russians. Like, why wouldn't? Because this hurts the United States more. It's more of this war of attrition stuff. Like they aren't like super bummed about this going on here. So I would love to see how this is a direct benefit to the people of the United States. Donald Trump said something. He said something the other day. I wish I had it in front of me, but he said that, well, this is causing oil prices to go up, which is going to affect energy costs, and your gas prices are going to get higher. But we do have a lot of oil and gas companies in the United States. So the United States is poised to make a lot of money from this. I couldn't believe he said that. Did you see that, John?
Yeah, I did see that. And that's one of those things where you can tell when one of his advisors is talking to him and it's coming out of his mouth in a press conference. That was Donald Trump was like, oh, I'm not liking this war in Iran, guys. One of them was like, oh, but what about this theory, Don? We're going to make a lot of money off of this because we have a lot of oil tankers. And Don's like, oh, that sounds like a good idea. That sounds smart. I'm going to repeat that later. And that he does this all the time now. It's actually concerning to me how much that is. Like it is happening way more now than it was happening even at the start of this term. Pay attention, guys. You can tell exactly when he does it. He'll make a claim and it will sound as if someone made it up to try to appease him. Just listen for it. It happens all the time.
That's good stuff, man. All right, we got to shut it down, folks. Great show. It was rocky there for a while, but we righted the ship and everything. John, any last thoughts for the folks here?
Yeah, right in the ship. Opportune Choice Awards, TJ. Great show. Good to be back. It's always great showing with you guys. We will be back on Tuesday for our. We're
Thursday. Thursday. I'll be gone Tuesday.
You'll be on Tuesday, so we'll be back on Thursday for our regular Thursday show. And yeah, good to be back, guys. See you later.
See you guys. Yeah, it got sketchy there.